Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Better together.
Hello everyone, and right now we're just going to have everyone play left field. It's the ultimate and worst defensive shift ever in baseball history, but it will be fun. Our first story this time around is an incredible one. It's about a softball tournament held in memory of a local serviceman who gave his life in Iraq. I found myself speechless a couple of times while I was learning about the life of Master Sergeant Paul Karpowich. Honestly, I'm pretty speechless right now as we get ready to take a look at his life and his legacy that still lives on today.
The day Zach Barr found out his cousin's husband was killed serving in the Army in Iraq, he didn't really understand what was going on. He was too young at the time to fully comprehend the weight of the situation.
It was weird. It was the Friday right before the Christmas break, though, the last day of school. I remember it aligned on a Friday that year, I believe, or something, and it was weird. My mom had like a deja vu type dream about it. Like she woke me up for school in the morning, but I could tell she was teary-eyed. It was real weird, and she was explaining to me how she had a dream that it was nighttime and Paul was driving fast in a Humvee and he flipped in and died. And I mean, within like 10 minutes, she got a phone call.
While Barr didn't understand the emotional impact of that call, he probably got a better understanding of what was going on at the viewing and the funeral. He still remembers the outpouring of love at the funeral for Master Sergeant Paul Karpowich.
I remember the funeral in Freeland. Now when I think back on it, it was a very special thing with the flag draped over the coffin, the whole march that ensued. It seemed like the whole city of Hazleton was in Freeland that day. I've never seen so many people at a funeral.
Sergeant Major Paul Wilcox served with Karpowich in Iraq. Barr and many others have heard stories of how great Karpowich was. Wilcox saw it firsthand. Before wrapping up his interview for this story, he said he was honored to talk about his friend, who inspired so many. And just before hanging up the phone, he shared the story of the day Karpowich died.
I don't know if you know the story behind how he actually died, but he came back from a mission. He came back from a mission, and after 2 weeks of being out in the field, he should have had some time off. He went into the chow hall and said to his boss, "Hey, listen, I got this. You take off. I'll take care of this guy. It's my responsibility." And his boss was like, "No." He's like, "You think you just were gone for 2 weeks? He's like, go take a shower, shave, clean yourself up." He's like, "No, this is my duty. This is my responsibility. I'll take care of it." And so his boss walked out of the chow hall, and that's when the guy next to him, detonated the suicide bomb. So. That's the kind of person he was, in everything he did. He led from the front. I mean, he was lead follower, get away.
To honor his memory, the Master Sergeant Paul Karpowich Foundation was set up. The money raised by the foundation goes to groups and causes that meant a lot to Karpowich, and that includes the Hazleton Animal Shelter.
I'm driving back to Colorado right now with my dog in the car next to me. I just came back from, spending a few weeks in the mountains. That's what Paul would have done. That's the kind of person he was. So I feel very connected to him when I'm there. I feel connected to him driving back with the dog sitting next to me, When we got to Iraq, the first thing he did was find some stray dogs and start feeding them, They did, so.
That's too funny. And Paul had a dog too, you said?
Yeah, Paul had 2 dogs. They had 2 dogs, but I'm saying when we got to Iraq, the first thing he did was, he took some of his snacks he had in his pocket and found a stray dog. And, within 24 hours of us being in Taj, Iraq, he was, a following of dogs, like the Pied Piper running around. He was just an amazing man. And, he loved animals. He loved people. He loved life. He always say, "Hakuna Matata," Means no worries for your days. That's what he lived by.
For his senior project in high school, Barr decided to set up a fundraiser for the foundation. Growing up, Barr had a love of baseball and a deep respect for the military. In 2013, the first Baseball for Bravery event raised over $3,000 for the foundation.
What do you hope people get out of the event when they walk away from Baseball for Bravery, or if they watch the story? What do you want them to walk away from it and take away from it?
Well, I want people to take away maybe an extra level of appreciation and gratitude for our veterans. Look at it a different way, maybe. what I want people to get out of it. I want it to be a fun time, a fun day for everybody, regardless of giving back or not. It's just, there's so much negativity in this town anymore. It's so sickening. I almost don't even want to live here, but I just want to have a nice day within the community almost. If I gotta be the one to make it happen, and so be it, but it's just, even on another level from the veterans giving back and everything, it's nice to just have a nice day.
Wilcock lives in New Jersey. He says he's not much of a baseball player, so he doesn't play in the tournament, but he'll always show up to support the cause when he can.
Paul is the most motivational person I ever met in my entire life. I have goosebumps talking to you about him right now. People around him just wanted to do better. He was that kind of guy. He wasn't an in-your-face kind of guy. That's more me. He was more of a silent professional. He did his job. He did it the best way that he knew how. He always tried for perfection. You know, he always wanted to do more. He was always the first person to do something. He was the last person to be done at night. He just inspired people to be better people. And you know, I met him and I was instantly attracted to that. And, you know, and I was like, I gotta be friends with this guy. And he was cool. Like, he was a cool guy. You know, this is going back 15 years, but you know, he smoked Marlboro Reds. He drank black coffee. I mean, like, it's just, that was cool at the time. I mean, that's what they did. And he was a stud. I mean, he could run as fast as anybody else in the entire unit. I mean, he was physically fit. He was just mentally well prepared. And he was just, again, he was one of those guys. People just wanted to emulate and be like him. And, you know, when he died, it crushed us all.
Wilcock and Karpowich were sent to different locations to serve in Iraq, but they got close to each other while they were training.
He and I we were in the same team, so we trained together the entire time. When we got to Iraq, they split us up. They sent me down to the Iraq-Iran border, and they sent him north to Res. You know, he had a preconceived notion that something was going to happen to him. I don't know if you know that, but he gave a letter to me and another guy and said, you know, when I die, he's like, make sure my wife gets this. He's like, I'm giving one to each of you in case one of you guys with me when it happens. And I told him he was nuts. I said, it's never going to happen. You're not going to die. You're going to be fine. And, he was in country about 2 weeks, and he was in the back of a striker, and he got hit by an IED. And he emailed me and said, hey, dude, I got hit by an IED. And I wrote back to him and said, you know, see you. I called him a name, you know. You were wrong. You're not going to die. And that was the last time I ever heard from him. It was about a week after that he got killed, December 21st, 2004.
How do you ever say thank you for a sacrifice like that? On August 8th, 2015, the third annual Baseball for Bravery event was held in West Hazelton. $2,000 was raised for the Master Sergeant Paul Karpowich Foundation.
Some people may not know how to get better. You know, they may not be personally related to a veteran or whatever, and they just, you know, some people know that some people are very iffy about talking about it or even bringing it up, and other people are very open about it. It's just a difficult situation. It's something you try to avoid, though, because you just don't know how someone's going to react. So this is, yeah, I see it as like a way for everybody to give back, even if, you know, they can't find that way exactly how to.
Bar grew up playing baseball. Now he's using the sport to help others. On the website for the Master Sergeant Paul Karpowich Foundation, it says that Paul would be proud of Zach. Years ago, when his mom got that phone call, Bar didn't understand. Now he gets it.
When it hit home like that, I mean, does it now, the military, even more in your life, make you have a new respect for it, or?
A never-ending respect, I guess. It's like I never, no matter how many times I do this event, you know, I could do it until the year I die, and on my deathbed I could still feel like I didn't do enough to give back for all they sacrificed.
Next on Out of Left Field, we learn all about roller derby from X-Ray Specs, Dreddy Crocker, and the rest of the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Roller Radicals.
Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazelton Campus. Better together.
Welcome back to Out of Left Field. Before season 2 of this show, all I knew about roller derby was that the girl from Juno was in a movie about it. Turns out that girl's name is Ellen Page, and it turns out roller derby is pretty cool, and it's played by some very cool people. Let's check it out.
The flat track roller derby team in Wilkes-Barre is called the Roller Radicals. It's not an over-exaggeration. This is their temple, Skateaway in Wilkes-Barre. We're about to fall into their world, but don't worry, we'll learn the proper way to fall without getting hurt in this highly physical sport.
The running joke is, derby, you ruin your body to save your soul. You know, it's food for the soul. When you get out there for 2 hours when we practice, nothing matters at that point. You are simply just going out there and you're free. For that 2 hours, there's a sense of freedom where you are with these people who you love and care about because they're like your sisters. It is like a female empowerment thing, and you go out there, and when you're on the rink, it's like you're flying. It's like you are, nothing matters for that 2 hours. So if you want a break from your regular life, if you want to get some aggression out, because yeah, we hit each other, it's great. So it's amazing. It'll change your life. It changed mine.
Rachel Hawley hasn't even been involved with the team for a year yet, but she's out spreading the word.
Everywhere I go, it always comes up. I carry the cards. I have a roller skate tattooed on me. Derby has become such a part of my persona. I would want to share it with everybody. I derby evangelize, you know. So.
There's a ton of diversity in this group trying to block the jammer from getting through. We'll get to the jammer. Right now, let's concentrate on the diversity.
Do you have a mix of like people from every different background?
Yes, we have librarians, we have a lot of people, you know, like just tons of mothers, different walks of life, students. I would say we have women anywhere from the ages of 19 to, I believe, 46 right now, 47. You know, just if you want to do it, we will teach you how to do it.
Holly herself is going to school and she works at a local newspaper. Sarah Nansteele is a mother of 5 who recently picked up the sport.
I am hoping that our team continues to get bigger. We can have an A team, B team, and hopefully in the future we could have a juniors league, because there are juniors leagues, and I would absolutely love for my children to do that. It's a great way, not only for little girls, but boys do play this, to be empowered, to be part of something, to play. I think it's awesome.
Kayla Huey was a field hockey player at Marywood University. She just wasn't enjoying that sport anymore. Like a lot of women, she heard about roller derby when she was younger and jumped at the opportunity to try out for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Roller Radicals.
What is the atmosphere like? You said you play field hockey. Is it like when you go to a field hockey match or something? What's the differences? What's the similarities?
I would say it's definitely a little bit more intense because it's definitely more physical contact sport than, you know, baseball or field hockey, you know. Sort of similar to football or rugby in a sense. So, you know, you got your hitting, but, you know, they have, it's called like a splash zone. Well, it's pretty much like, you know, if girls fall out, like you're right there, you know, so you're right next to the track. So you get to really be close versus sitting like far away on the bleachers trying to like use your binoculars.
So if you're watching, you're pretty much right there. I mean, if you're a fan of it, you're in the action.
Yeah, it's really nice because I've had, you know, friends and family come, and, you know, you really get to see, you know, their facial expressions when they take a hit and hear all the sound effects. And
Did you ever fall right near your family and just be like, hey guys?
I haven't fell near my family, but they've seen me fall a couple times and they're like, ooh, that looked like it hurt. Like, it's not as bad as you think.
Part of the reason it's not as bad as you think is the team learns how to take a hit and how to safely fall.
How do you fall? What is the art of taking a hit or falling? How do you do it the right way without getting hurt?
Well, ideally, you know, you have to be low so that you're not just, you know, falling 5 feet down onto the ground,
Okay, so
you know.
low.
Yeah, and then ideally you want to fall on your knee, like one at a time. If you do like a double knee fall, don't just go down on both because you'll like destroy your knees.
You'll find out once you get on the track that you're a lot tougher than you realized. And most of the girls that I've met in this amazing sport are the sweetest, nicest people you could imagine. Get out on the track and they will lay you out. And then after the game, everybody goes out and has a beer together. So you discover your own toughness when you're out there.
If you're watching this video and thinking this is nothing like the roller derby bouts I used to watch on television where people were clotheslining each other, Well, you're right. It's not anything like that.
I've never really been into the theatrics of it. It was almost more like professional wrestling in the past, and now it's much more of a sport, much more athleticism. There's a lot of training that happens off the track. You know, you just can't get up, show up to practice for a couple hours, and then expect to be great. You know, there's a lot of cross training, you know, weights, running, all sorts of things to be an athlete. It's an athletic sport now, so it's definitely not scripted. We're out there working our butts off, and it's really rewarding. But yeah, no clotheslining.
Let's learn some of the rules of the game from Peter Stein, who's known in the Derby world as Jim Somnia. He's going to tell us what a jammer is and more.
There are 7 different referees, each with a different job. 2 of the referees will basically keep score. They'll be the jammer referees. And the jammer is a skater. Each team has a jammer. The jammer wears a star on her helmet, and that's the player who scores the points. And after they pass everyone once, that's the initial pass, then they receive a point for each opponent that they pass. So there are a variety of things that can lead to penalties, and so a lot of it's illegal hits. For example, you can't hit in the head or in the back or below the knees. And so there are things like that.
So you've probably noticed everyone in this story has an alias, and you probably noticed me refer to Peter Stein as Jim Somnia. And now you're probably wondering just how you get a super cool Derby name. Well,
you all create a Derby name. It's your persona. When you get out on the rink, you stop being, you know, the mild-mannered, whatever, nurse, doctor, housewife. You become that person, and you take on that persona.
Can you explain your name? Is there a reason you picked it, or?
Yes, X-Ray Specs is actually the variation I have. It's Ray, as in Rachel. Everyone used to call me Ray Holly. But the band itself, there's a band from the 70s, X-Ray Specs. They were one of the leaders in like the punk feminist movement in the 70s, which is really important to me. So
you don't get any extra points during a bout for creative Derby names, but if you did, the Roller Radicals would never lose because Huey has a great one.
Well, I have dreads, obviously, and I love baking, and, you know, I was like, oh, I could put these together. Instead of Betty Crocker, it's Dreddy Crocker. So.
What's your favorite thing to bake? Are you doing, like, cupcakes, cookies, or you're baking, like?
I do like brownies a lot. I love cream cheese brownies, and, you know, gotta have to eat the batter afterwards, too, so.
You've baked for the team?
Not yet, I haven't.
Dreddy Crocker perfectly ties together what roller derby is all about: fierce physical competition and extremely tight-knit teams.
I've always been, like, more into like the physical contact, like hitting, and so when I found out about it, I was like, you know, it seems like a very great family, you know, everyone's so close together, and it's like a second family, and they're always there for you no matter what, just besides the Derby community. Like, if you're stressed out about something, they're there for you.
Those comments were echoed over and over again.
We are a family. We immediately a family. I had some family trouble like a week, 2 weeks in, and they were hugging me, and it's fine, it's gonna be okay, and we're always here for you, and if you need anything, let us know. It was immediate that they were concerned about me in and out of the sport.
If you're looking for a good workout, good friends, and a great nickname, get in touch with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Roller Radicals by using their website or social media.
After this break, get ready to look at sports in a whole different way as we talk with an eye doctor about sports vision.
Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazelton Campus. Better together.
All right, die-hard Out of Left Field fans, who remembers the first promo we did for this show where I talked about scoring an own goal while I was playing soccer at Bishop Hayfie? Well, you're about to meet the man who was in goal that fateful day, Dr. James Diem. He's a great eye doctor and one heck of a goalkeeper. Maybe I needed my eyes checked back then. Right now, here's a story all about the importance of vision in sports.
In the movie The Legend of Bagger Vance, whenever Matt Damon's character is totally relaxed, the crowd on the golf course disappears and his vision becomes super crisp. He then proceeds to whack a great shot. It turns out this is a thing. We're going to call it sports vision. And maybe it's not as dramatic as Hollywood would lead us to believe, but it's important, and eye doctors even have a device that will eliminate some stimuli around you.
You ask kind of what we would do. There's lots of different visual training exercises we can do. A lot of those things will focus on depth perception and also reducing the stimulus that you get to make you focus on that stimulus a little more. I liken it to running with weights on your shoes. So if you run with weights on your shoes or legs, when you take them off, you're gonna run faster, right? Because you're used to being weighted down. Well, with vision, we can actually cut down the amount of visual stimulus that you would get, and then when you take that off, it's overload almost. And so you're used to looking for smaller details, your eyes are more sensitive. So there's actually some glasses that we can use that have some shutters in them, and so those shutter at a different speed based on where you're at in your visual training program. And as you're looking at maybe catching a ball or trying to throw a ball at a target, the shutter speed is cutting down the amount of visual information you're getting, and then based on that you take it off, and your detailed ability is a little bit improved based on that. There's been lots of studies to show that works, so, and that's just one part of it. So
let's start our talk about sports vision with some basic knowledge. Russ Kanzler of the Philadelphia Phillies organization knows how to hit a baseball.
No score, but the Pigs a threat. Hernandez off of second, Franco off of first, the 3-0, swung on and drilled in the air, left field and deep. Ortiz back at the track, at the wall, forget about it, it's out of here!
The Cunningham Crusher has over 130 home runs in his minor league career and 3 at the big league level. He knows how to hit, but he didn't write the book on it.
First book I ever read on baseball was The Science of Hitting by Ted Williams, and Ted Williams is probably the greatest hitter to ever play the game, in my opinion. And I just remember reading in that book that he talked about the importance of vision. When he was manager, when he started managing players after his playing career was over, and if a guy was in a slump, the first thing he did was look at their vision. He had them go see the eye doctor and see if there was any problems. So in a lot of cases, their guys weren't necessarily having problems with their swing or their mental approach. They weren't seeing the ball. So it's important to pay attention to your vision. I get checkups all the time to make sure that my eyes are sharp and they're where they need to be, because that's something that you can work on your swing all day. You can work on your approach as a hitter, but if you're not seeing the ball, you're in trouble.
It turns out there may be some great athletes not seeing the ball, well, at least not seeing it as well as they should be.
There was a study done on Olympic athletes actually that looked at all of their visual abilities, and actually surprisingly around 30% of them had uncorrected vision components, uncorrected refractive errors, just nearsighted or farsighted. Around 20% of them had some deficient binocular vision issues, so one eye looking a little bit different than the other. So there is a large number of individuals who are, even at the top level of their sport, who have deficient visual components that could actually maybe take them to the next level.
Kanzler has been at the highest level. He played in the majors with the Tampa Bay Rays and the Cleveland Indians.
There's games that we play as hitters where we'll write numbers on baseballs, and we'll flip baseballs to each other and try to see if you can pick up the number or a color. When I was with Tampa Bay, they had a machine that shot out tennis balls like 115 miles an hour with the colored, half of it colored blue or half of it colored red, and you just worked on tracking the ball and you had to yell out the color that you saw. So just trying to work on that part of your motor skill is big. It's big. It's definitely overlooked in the game, but I think the good teams focus on it.
So when Kanzler is locked in at the plate, does his vision become like Matt Damon's in The Legend of Bagger Vance?
If you're really calm, and that's the challenge I think as a hitter, is to be calm of mind. Guys are throwing 95 plus. It's tough to stay calm. But if you can relax your breathing, that's a big thing first in seeing the ball. So you want to relax your breathing, you want to stay calm. And then really you're just picking up on tendencies. If it's a fastball, it kind of looks like a white blur is coming at you. But on breaking balls, if you're relaxed enough and you're focusing on the right points of the baseball, sometimes you can pick up that spin, which might tip you off early as to what's coming, a breaking ball or a fastball. So, but for me, that all comes into play with just breathing properly in the box and being relaxed.
Did you ever watch a baseball player slam a 100-mile-per-hour fastball 400-some feet out of the park? Or watch a quarterback squeeze a ball perfectly between two defenders and just think, wow, he must have some great vision? Well, you're not alone. Dr. James Diem from Hazleton Eye Specialists has had the same thought.
I've had the privilege of doing eye exams for our service members over my training, and a lot of them have been pilots, fighter pilots, things of that nature. And a lot of times these individuals will have just unbelievably excellent sight, excellent. 2010 vision, 2015 vision, which is a line or two better than 2020, beyond what, the human retina is normally capable of. And I think that most times too, some of these higher level athletes also have that visual function. They just tend to have better visual function. But what's important to know is there are other things that we can do to improve upon that. Again, vision is more in 2020. And so there are, some visual tasks, mostly focusing on those higher level tasks, binocular vision, eye movements, and also perceptual vision, what we do with that vision when it gets into our brain, how we transform it into a motor movement that can take those athletes even to the next level. So I do often revel and just look at how amazing, wow, how can you see that clearly, or how can you pick up that slight change in the way that ball is coming at you at 100 miles an hour. But then I also think, maybe there's a fantastic eye doctor behind that, and I like to think that, and I hope that we can do that for some of our local athletes and maybe even some of our local major league athletes in the future.
So life's not a movie, and maybe Kanzler can't make all the distractions around him disappear, but he's an athlete who knows the importance of vision, and he can certainly make a baseball disappear.
As always, I appreciate you watching the show. Now, next time we'll talk with Carli Lloyd, the MVP from this past Women's World Cup, plus Marion head football coach Stan DeCoste, who got his 300th win this past football season. Plus, I'll be here, the man with a CYO championship and a Boy Scout Pinewood Derby championship to his name. We'll see you then. Take it easy.